Baseball and Beer Podcast. My name is John Nee. I will be your host tonight. And tonight we will be discussing the Phillies' very disappointing opening day game and a very disappointing homestand. We will also be sampling some nice beers tonight while we discuss this. Opening day. Great day. Started out down K-Lot in the Link. Great tailgate. Sold out crowd having a great time that day. Game started out very good. Zach Wheeler, believe he gave us 6 shutout innings that day. Brandon Marsh hit a 2-run homer. Things were looking good. And then Topper Topper went to the bullpen like he needed to in the 7th, 8th, and 9th with what was supposed to be the top-rated bullpen in the National League this year. And they imploded en route to a 9-3 Phillies loss on opening day. So it was very disappointing after Zach Wheeler gave us a solid start. Felt like that was a wasted effort on him by the bullpen failing to get their job done. And the offense after Marsh's homer really didn't do what they're paid to do either. So it was an opening day disappointment to say the least, for a team that claimed they're going to come out of the gates firing this year and no slow start in April like we've seen the last few years. And to be frank, when you're playing a team like the Atlanta Braves in a 3-game series open the season, you better come out hot because you do not want to be behind the 8 ball with this team. We know they are more than well capable of winning 100 to 105 games. And that'll be a heck of a struggle for the Phillies to get to 100 wins, to be honest with you. I look at this team more as a 93 to 95 type team, and they have no room for error, to be honest. This bullpen really has to be the number 1 ranked bullpen, and this offense really needs to hit. If they don't, a wild card would be well within their reach, obviously with 90-some wins, and that might be the route they have to go. Moving on to game 2, didn't get much better. A 12-4 loss to the Braves. It was a strong start for the Phillies offense as they came out with, I believe, 4 runs. But Aaron Nola was looking more like the Aaron Nola of last year and could not hold that lead. And the bullpen once again imploded. And the results was a 12-4 loss after the Phillies offense sent Max Fried to the showers early, which is no easy task. To lose them first 2 games in that fashion was, to be frank, embarrassing. For a team that, says they're sick of losing to the Braves or seeing the Braves win this division, they need to come out and do a much better job in them first 2 games, to be honest with you. They make you want to drink a lot, to be honest with you.
What beer are you drinking?
So tonight I'm actually drinking a beer called Dale's Pale Ale. Very good beer. It's a light lager. Trying to cut back on the pounds a little bit as I'm getting a little too hefty here. And, if I'm going to be baseball and beers and drinking beer all summer watching this team, might have to drink light beers even though they're not my forte. But anyway, moving on to game 3, the final game of the series, a game that looked like it was heading towards another Phillies loss until a call was overturned on a ground ball, double play ball by Johan Rojas. The Phillies challenged it and won the challenge and then proceeded to score 3 runs. And the bullpen actually did their job this day and held on for a 5-4 win, which was, much needed. Getting swept by the Braves to start the season at home would have been pretty embarrassing, to be honest. And wouldn't have kept us faithful much happy, and I'm not really sure we are happy even after a 1-2 start. But it's a long season, and this team is up and down. We have a streaky offense, we know that. We have the number 1 bullpen according to the experts. I don't truly believe that. I say it's a good bullpen. It can be a good bullpen. Alvarado, Soto, and Dominguez are probably going to be the ones that are going to have to carry the 8th and 9th inning, and we all know how that's a high wire act. We know they can all be lights out at times, and they can also be wild. So not getting a closer this offseason, in my opinion, may come back to bite this team in the ass at the end of the year. But hopefully not. Hopefully Alvarado can, could overcome some of his wildness and, for the most part, be a solid reliever in the 8th or 9th. We know there will not be a set closer with Topper. He likes to go with the matchups, and that's the way it's going to have to be because they don't have a set closer. So I'd expect it'll be Dominguez, Alvarado, and Soto on most nights, as Strom and Hoffman will probably be called upon in the 6th or 7th innings most nights. Karkarin, who's currently on the IR, will be coming back. I'd imagine they're going to work him in slowly for a while. I know a lot of people have been mentioning him as a potential closer at some point, but, he only had a small sample size up here last year. To be honest, I wouldn't really want to see the Phillies rush him into that role, at least until the second half of the season. Let him get his feet wet. He is still a young kid, moved very quickly through the minors last year. And, that's a lot to ask of a young kid. And actually, they asked a little bit of him in the playoffs last year in the Diamondbacks, and that didn't work out too good. So, anyways, the Phils were able to salvage the last game of the series with the Braves and come out with a win. They lost the series, but they did get a win. So, moving on to the second series against the Reds, a series I believe they should have won, at least 2 games to 1. I would like to think they could have swept the Reds, but unfortunately, they did not. We started out with Christopher Sanchez gave him 5 good innings, and the bullpen did not do too bad. I believe they allowed 2 inherited runners to score, and we were locked up there. We went extra innings that night. I was actually down this game. It was a cold night, and Connor Brogdon entered the game again in the 10th inning with the ghost runner at second. Don't know how anyone feels about that ghost runner. Personally, I think it's a little league tactic and it has no place in the major league game. But anyway, I'm not the commissioner. So that being told, the Reds started with their runner at second base in the 10th, and then Connor Brogdon proceeded to walk the next 2 batters. And I'm sure everybody in the Delaware Valley or anyone else watching that game, from wherever else you're at, Jersey, wherever, knew the outcome of that once he walked them 2 batters and loaded the bases. We knew it was trouble. We knew runs were going to score. I did not expect a grand slam and put the game completely out of reach, but that's what happened, and the result was another loss for the Phillies and a 1-3 start for a team that we thought was going to come out of the gates going hard this year. The next night, quite an interesting night. Ricardo Pinto was called up. Connor Brogdon was DFA'd, and Ricardo Pinto was called up, and unfortunately could not get to the ballpark on time. And I believe after a 6 or 7 hour ride, he arrived at the ballpark sometime around the 4th inning. And after Spencer Turnbull's night was done, after 5 shutout innings, I will add, actually gave up a run, but it was an unearned run with another error from Trey Turner. Whew. He's tough at short. I don't know what they're going to do about that in the future. Maybe at some point there could be Stott goes to short and Turner to second. Probably not, but 20 errors from Turner last year, and I believe he has 2 or 3 already this year, so that might be something to watch going forward. But anyway, Spencer Turner gave him 5 innings, an unearned run, so pretty much 5 shutout innings, and then Ricardo Pinto entered and gave him 4 good innings after driving all day to get there and arriving in the 4th inning. We all know all the offense was surprised that night by, at the time, the hitless Bryce Harper, who exploded for 3 home runs that night, including a grand slam. So looks like Hart might have found his bat a little bit, and hopefully so, because we really need him. And he did sit, I believe, the game before, or game 3 against the Braves after tumbling over the railing. Topper gave us the old maintenance day for him. I don't know why you would need a maintenance day game 3 of the season, but, Harper sat that day against Sale. Maybe that had something to do with it too, as did Marsh and Stott. Not going to say I was a big fan of that, by the way. You want to give Marsh a day off here and there against a tough lefty. Play Merrifield out there, Pache, whatever, that's fine. But Bryson Stott needs to play every day. And for the most part, I believe Bryce Harper needs to play at first base too, pretty much every day. I know he has a bulky back, and he probably was a little banged up after that fall. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt for that. But what I don't need to see is Bryce Harper have let's say 20, 25 maintenance days this year. Bryce Harper needs to be in the lineup 150 times at first base. Just my opinion. But anyway, the Phillies got the win in Game 5 to bring their record to 2-3, which brought us to yesterday's game after what seemed to be about, 48 hours of rain. The Phillies decided to push that game back from 1:05 scheduled start to 4:05. And I'm pretty sure everybody knew that wasn't going to happen watching what it was doing outside all day. So then the Phillies decided we're just going to sit this one out as long as we can, and we'll try to get this game started at 8:05, which they eventually did. Kind of think that's unfair for the fans. Drag the fans down there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. People got to make arrangements. Some people travel far for these games. This might only be a handful of games people can attend for money reasons or whatever. And to drag them fans down there in that and force them to sit through a 4-hour rain delay is kind of outrageous. I mean, I understand there was a couple issues with today. One rumor flying around there was the Phillies and Reds players did not want to play on their off day today. Another rumor I heard on the radio was there was a wedding scheduled today at Citizens Bank Park. The Phillies are denying that had anything to do with it. But with the Reds not coming back, the Phillies were in a tough spot, and they wanted to get the game in. I understand that, but at the expense of the fans, it seems. So the Phillies have talked about doing something for the fans, and I have not been on the radio or TV today, and they may have already decided what they were going to do and let that out. But as of last I had heard early this morning, they have not decided what they were going to do for fans with tickets for that game, which is, they should have known what they were going to do right away. Any fan that did not attend that game with a ticket should be reimbursed or allowed to attend another game, in my opinion. It was just an unfortunate situation. And it was a miserable night when the game did play. Zach Wheeler went out there and he pitched okay. I believe he gave up 3. And the offense was nowhere to be found again. And the result, I believe, was a 4-1 loss for the Phils to fall to 2-4, which, quite honestly, is an unacceptable homestand to start the season. But, hey, it's a long year, and, we know they're a streaky offense. We know they're going to get their stuff together. Some guys are struggling now. Trey Turner and Nick Castellanos are struggling out of the gate offensively and defensively, apparently. And, Johan Rojas looks like he's a little overmatched right now against major league pitching, but the Phillies are probably going to stay with him a little while longer. And, he's one heck of a defensive center fielder, and we know he can fly. So, the times he does get on base, maybe you can expect some fireworks with a few steals here and there. And, we need to get him going. The bullpen is what it is. I see it as a 50-50 shot on most nights. You don't know what you're going to get from Alvarado, Dominguez, Soto, at the end of these games. So hopefully that'll level out and straighten itself out. And starting pitching's been good. Again, I mentioned Turnbull stepping in for Walker. He'll obviously get another start or two. I think Walker started throwing today, so he's probably a while away. It's early. We have a 6-game road stand coming up. Road trip coming up, not road stand. And I believe the Phillies can, they should go out and get like a 4-2 and maybe even this record up before they come back home. And again, it's a long season, and hopefully, we'll put it together and give the Braves a run for their money this year. I mean, we don't want to see this team, 14, 15 games behind in September to the Braves. They're much better than that, I believe. And, they need to get it going. So basically, that's all I have for everyone tonight. I hope you enjoyed this. I'd like to be adding some guests in the next couple of weeks. Maybe discuss what kind of beers we're drinking a little more, getting a little more of a discussion, a little tit for tat back and forth with the Phillies and what's going on. And I'll see everybody next week, hopefully after the road trip. I hope you enjoyed this. Give me the benefit of the doubt. This was my first time behind camera. I'm a little nervous, and I'm hoping to improve each week like the Phillies, and hopefully by the end of the year, we're both number 1 at this. Thank you, folks. Have a great night. Cheers.
That was great.